I think just being able to treat foster youth not like they're some foreign space alien, I think it's a misconception that we're misfits, that we're troublemakers, and it's really just that we need love and that we want to be treated like family, we want to be treated like people, but also that our story wants to be heard like anybody else's stories. So I was born in Colorado Springs. I am the youngest of 7. My mom and dad have really struggled with drug addiction, and none of us kids really grew up with my parents. We all grew up in the foster care system, group homes, family friends, grandparents. And my very first experience with not being raised by my parents is kinship through my grandmother. When I was in diapers, that was off and on up until I was 9 years old. And then I did live with my mom. My dad was in prison at the time, and she wasn't really taking me to school. From there, I moved in with my brother. I was there for about a year and a half, and that was a very unstable housing for me, and so I actually ran away, and I ended up living with my sister. When I lived with my sister, I actually won a scholarship to go to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama. I had won it because I shared what school meant to me. I really understood the way out of poverty, the way out of drug addiction, for, this cycle of life that my parents had created was to be educated, to go to school and stick with it. And I think that's really when I first realized that people believed in me and that I was smart. I wanted to be the first one in my family to go to college. My sister, she was in an abusive relationship, and so I ultimately moved out of that as well. The foster family, they honestly were more like a housing option for me. They didn't really treat me like their daughter. I was treated as a roommate. I had requested to be moved to foster home because I wanted to be adopted. I wanted to be loved. And I was refused because my caseworker told me, if I don't get to choose my family, then you don't get to choose yours. And I stayed for 3.5 years, so I moved on to my second foster home. This foster home, they were a lot more loving, they were a lot more in tune to my emotional needs and just guide me through life, and I was there for about 3 months. I had turned 18 10 days after I entered their home, and so my journey of foster care was already ending. I attended Colorado State University, and I lived in the dorms, and it honestly was a culture shock going into college. There's a lot of introductions, and it's kind of hard to fit your entire story into a minute where kids can be like, yeah, my mom and dad are, this, and they're great, and I'm like, well, I actually got made fun of because my room wasn't colorful enough or having much stuff. It's because I was packing my entire life into suitcases and bringing with me to the dorm. I had no storage, I had nowhere to bring all of my belongings. Being in the foster care system, you learn to carry light. My mom and dad, they were homeless at the time, and they're actually living in a storage unit not too far from me. And so to go from almost zero contact with my mom and dad to being a block and a half away from them was entirely different. With my current husband, we were actually planning our wedding, and so I went to go pick up my mom. Hey, let's go look at wedding stuff. I was just trying to make a connection with her. And I actually found her in the storage unit, and it was locked. She had been locked inside, I think, for about a day and a half. Because of that, they opened an attempted murder charge on my dad. And it was a lot. It really was, because family members were telling me that I was lying, that it was not true, that she must have locked herself in even though she was inside. There was multiple people that helped me along the way and that really cared about my journey. So it was my middle school counselor, it was an after-school enrichment program, and it was a science teacher and English teacher and history teacher. I had a CASA, and she was absolutely amazing. My Chafee worker really helped me out navigating things that a parent would help you when going to college. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' life. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she would. I think it's great. I think just being able to take from all of the different cultures and caregivers that have taken care of me and just take the good and leave the bad behind. I want a lot better for her, and I'm super glad that I have my degree and I have a great job and everything is going well. Just being able to just experience life and experience things for the first time, enjoy the unknowing, and just taking a leap of faith and just experience those things for myself.